Motorhead Garage, the program that each week introduces you to and shows you how to install the latest in exciting and innovative products for your vehicle. Now here's your host, Dave Dobson.
This is Motorhead Garage presented by DragonFireTools.com. Whether you're off-roading in a Jeep like this, doing track days in a Mustang like that, or a professional racer, or just going down the street, safety is the most important thing, and HMS Motorsport is the leader in motorsport safety. They are the place to turn if you're looking to stay safe behind the wheel of an automobile. First, let me start with your resume, Joe. Why should folks go to HMS Motorsport to get what they need to stay safe?
Well, we've been in the business now 28 years. We started in 1999, actually 1995 in Danvers, Massachusetts. We were initially started selling shocks and brake pads and all this kind of things for BMWs. But very shortly, since I was a driving instructor and I was big on autocross and track days, I was looking for something that would hold me in the seat. And so I found this company called Schroet, which had a street legal belt, which is something you could put into a stock car and you could ride around and you would be held into the seat. And it had some unique technology. And so what I did is I was very intrigued by it, and it's a German company. So I called up and I said, hey, I'd like to come over and learn more about your product. So I actually flew over, I met Carl Schroet, and he educated me and started my education process on everything about driving and motorsport safety. So we started with Schroet in 1996, but we started as an exclusive importer in 1999. So since 1999, every single Schroet belt that has been sold in the U.S., whether professional, amateur, whatever, has come through HMS Motorsport. And we are doing professional belts for NASCAR. We have about 97% of the Cup field, about 80% of Xfinity and truck. We have about 70% of IMSA, about 85% of IndyCar. And in our shop in Mooresville, we actually customize the belt. So we'll have a blueprint drawing for every driver. And we will draw and make that belt very specific to that. The teams come pick them up on a daily basis. So it's been an exciting business, and we've been involved with NASCAR since the very first days.
Now for folks that maybe are doing track days or off-roading or something like that, how can they benefit from the technology that you have in a Formula One car or an Indy car or something like that?
Right, so this is our Quick Fit Pro belt. We have a Quick Fit Pro and a Quick Fit regular belt. This belt is unique in that it's designed to be mounted to all the factory DOT mounting points. And why is that important? Because if I can click this belt in and out of the factory points, I can simply remove it when I'm not off-road or when I'm not driving on the track. The other thing is your car generally has a two-stage airbag system. If I am clicked in and to the female receptacle into your lap belt, it knows that I'm wearing a seatbelt. A two-stage airbag system, if there's no seatbelt on, is going to deploy the airbag at a really high intensity. If there is a seatbelt on, it's going to deploy at a lower intensity. So there's a big advantage to that. The other thing is a four-point belt that from a lot of manufacturers doesn't have any kind of what we call anti-submarining protection.
You don't want to slide under the belt.
If you don't have that lap belt really tight, low on your pelvis, you're good, and you get into an impact, you're going to want to slide underneath that belt. Okay, but Schroet offers a technology called ASM. So this piece of plastic right here has a folding of webbing, which is about 2 inches of webbing that in the event of a high-speed impact, it will release that webbing and will give you enough of an upper torso rotation so you have less likelihood to submarine. It also is an FMVSS 209 belt, meaning that I can wear that belt on the street. If I get stopped by a policeman, officer, I am wearing a street legal seat belt, and which is the only belt that actually has that certification as a four-point belt that's sold on the market today.
So it's obviously a safety thing, but it also helps improve your performance on the track.
Right, so I mean, when I use this on the track or when we give it to a new student that's on the track, they can take a second or two off their lap time simply because they're not using their body and that energy to brace. And not only that, they get out of their energy focus is on driving, not on bracing themselves in the car.
HMS Motorsport isn't just about the belts. Of course, all the clothing, the safety gear you need to actually wear in the vehicle, from race suits down to gloves and shoes and helmets, that sort of thing. The Hans devices. Also, communication within the race car if you want to talk from your car to the pit, or if you're an instructor and you want to talk to your students. Great systems available from HMS Motorsport. You also have tire gauges. You can actually put that information into your app on your phone and take good notes on atmospheric conditions that are going to affect those tires. And back to safety, we're talking fire suppression systems that are like no other. HMS Motorsport has 2 retail locations of their own, and they're at dealers all over the country. They are the world leader in motorsport safety, and now you know why. We'll be right back with more Motorhead Garage presented by DragonFireTools.com, so do not go anywhere.
Motorhead Garage, presented by DragonFireTools.com, is brought to you by AMSOIL, the first in synthetics, Campbell's Custom Care, your detail specialist, and by DragonFireTools.com, industrial workbenches with integrated tool storage.
Hey there, this is Motorhead Garage presented by DragonFireTools.com. Now let's talk about suspension. It is the foundation of your vehicle. If you don't have good suspension, you can't do much with your vehicle. Let's talk about the importance of suspension. Now, Lou, you're with Alcan Spring. What are the reasons you want to have a good, sturdy suspension on your vehicle?
Well, number one, to give it a good ride, to be able to carry the weight, to get out, and most importantly, to get back home.
Get back home is one of the most important things of all. At Alcan Spring, what are some of the things you do over the OEM suspension that people might find that's going to make it better?
So number one is the steel that we use is American-made steel. The same mill has built our steel for over 40 years, so we know what we're going to get. The other thing is we build a multi-leaf progressive spring that will increase height, it will increase weight capacity upon customer's request.
So how are you building systems? This isn't just a one-size-fits-all deal. These are all custom, right?
These are all custom-made spring. If a customer requires extra weight capacity in their spring to carry a bunch of gear, tools, different things like that, or if they want the vehicle lifted up off the ground to add more clearance underneath the truck, we can do that too.
So what kind of things do you need to know from a customer when they want to get new suspension?
Basically, make, model, how much the vehicle weighs, scale weights are a great idea, and how much lift they want to go with.
And no doubt what they're going to use it for.
And what they're going to use it for.
Got it. So this Tacoma is a sensational build. Here's a photo of the original, what it looked like when you first got the thing with 300 miles on it, and you started cutting on it, and you started doing modifications. And of course, it starts with the suspension. So let's talk about what you've done to the suspension here.
So with this Tacoma, we relocated the shocks. We used a custom valved 12-inch travel shock. We went spring under axle, multi-leaf progressive spring with a hydro bump and the remote reservoir, fully adjustable.
The thing that makes your springs unique is the orbit eye. How does that work?
So the orbit eye actually allows the spring to articulate 46 degrees. It is by option.
Gotcha, but it is enables you to have a lot more flexibility, a lot more travel, which is super important.
A lot more flex.
Now let's talk about springs here. Now this one, made in China, it says it right there. So this is something that you're going to get on just about every trailer that's running out there when it comes off the line. And what are some things about this that make it no bueno?
So as you know, first off, plastic bushings, they wear out in 2 weeks.
And those feel like the plastic you'd have like on a milk jug. This is
Yeah, it's crazy. Another thing is that where that second leaf ends, way short of the eye of the spring, that's where they always break.
And so the weight of your entire vehicle is really just resting on this piece of metal right there, and
that's
can
it.
Shear right off. That'll get you stuck out in the middle of nowhere, and that is trouble. So let's look at a spring from Alcan Spring, made in the USA right there, out of US steel. And what are some features here that make it better than that Chinese spring right there?
So we use the same diameter bushing, but it's brass. And then also we bring that second leaf so it supports the eye. We've got big, heavy, nice wraps. And this spring is actually designed 2 inches wide, and then we neck the eyes down to fit the stock hangers.
Gotcha, so this is just kind of a bolt-on option.
It's a bolt-on, it will bolt right on any of your heavy camp trailers.
Very cool. Of course, you specialize in the leaf springs, which is going to be on the rear, but you can also provide everything people need for front suspension. What's on this Tacoma?
Total chaos, upper and lower control arms on this specific vehicle, then the custom Radflow coilover that is custom valve, custom length. We're all fully adjustable, so you get all of the best suspension possible to get out, get around, and get back home.
How many of your customers are bringing their vehicle to you? And then what can you provide for folks that don't want to bring the vehicle in to see you?
So a lot of the customers that we have do bring us their vehicles, which we do complete builds, or you have the DIY people that we can provide all the parts necessary, send them to them. We ship all over the world, and they can install, and we're happy to help.
And when you say all the parts, it's not just suspension. You can do anything folks want to do for an off-road vehicle, right?
Anything that a person wants, we can provide.
So you're talking overlanders, off-roaders, even some racers are using springs from Alcan
That's
Springs.
right. We have a lot of King of the Hammers guys, Circle Track, and of course, overlanders is huge.
Believe me, if you get a spring from Alcan Springs, it's going to be way better than the OEM, and it's going to be tailor-made to the application that you need. It's a better ride, it's a safer ride, and it's going to get you home. AlcanSpring.com is the place to go for this and a whole lot more. We'll be right back with a whole lot more here on Motorhead Garage, presented by DragonFireTools.com, so stay tuned.
Motorhead Garage, presented by DragonFireTools.com, coming to you from the Campbell's Custom Care Studio.
Hey there, this is Motorhead Garage, presented by DragonFireTools.com. Today's vehicles are amazing. They're essentially rolling computers. There's all kinds of electronics in these things, and of course that means a lot more wiring, Matt. And now you've spent years and years in the automotive business. What are some of the things you see, some of the complications that come along with wiring messes like we have in vehicles today?
Today's vehicles are just a wonderful place for actually mice to actually look for. And you know, with all of the major wiring harnesses and the engine covers and the insulation and padding, it's all building materials and safe hiding spaces for the rodents to get away from the cats and the birds and tuck themselves up inside today's vehicles.
And the problem's not just the nesting, they chew on stuff. They chew on wiring especially. And why do they do that?
Well, they're constantly teething. So they're actually, the teeth are growing, they're aggravated like a baby is when they're teething. So they're looking for the closest thing. The harnesses are actually hidden by engine covers. That's where they are hiding. And there's people that say that the soy-based wiring is actually inviting.
So they need it and it tastes great to them. So you've solved the problem though, with those mice burrowing in there. It's called mouse blocker. How does it work?
So what we do is we take the nice, comfortable, warm engine compartment and we actually make it violent. So these units actually install under the hood and they shake that space up with super powerful ultrasonic sounds and vibrations so the rodents don't feel comfortable. And so if they don't feel comfortable and safe, they're just gonna move on.
And so it's not harmful to the mouse actually. So if you love your cars and you love animals, this is the thing for you.
This is not harmful. So there's no poisons or chemicals or anything like that. This is just a rumbling in their stomach, in their insides, in a fashion that they cannot stand for an extended period of time.
And if you have it in your vehicle and your vehicle's running, you're not going to hear it anyway.
You're not going to hear it anyways because it's going to be contained to the space under the hood. When you start the vehicle, this automatically goes to sleep. So the 12-volt one wires right to the battery. You start the car, this turns itself off. You park the car at night, this comes to life to protect it while it's sitting.
So let's talk about the specific models you have here. We talked about the daily driver. So if I want to have this in my vehicle, you can have it in full time, right?
Yeah, like this you put in and it goes to work and it turns itself on and off. If the vehicle sits for an extended period of time, you're on vacation or something like that and the battery voltage drops, this actually shuts itself off to protect the battery. So when you come home, it will still start. So that's all built right into that.
So it's super smart. And what if I've got a vehicle, I don't want to install this in, maybe it's a show car, maybe there's a classic or something like that. I don't want to install it in the vehicle and I don't drive it as often. What other solutions do you have?
So vehicles that sit for more than 7 to 10 days, it's a great question because people have tractors and campers and RVs and show cars and motorcycles and stuff and there's seasons and stuff, times we can't drive them. So we have a plug-in version of the Pro. And these both have our proprietary eviction mode, so they hit at 115 decibels on the highest setting, but this just plugs in simply to an extension cord. And then you set it on your asset, you set it under the hood of whatever you're trying to protect, plug it in, and let it do its thing.
Very good. And then here, this is the 1000. This is obviously a bigger unit. This doesn't go under your hood. How do we use this and how do we use it in conjunction with the Pro?
So this is a large space rodent deterrent. So this is designed with 4 long-range speakers to protect a 2-car garage. Direct protection here, then generic protection with the 1000. So we drive them out of the car, we keep them out of the car, then we drive them out of the space with the 1000. This is whisper quiet because we know it's in an open air environment, so you cannot hear this at all. Maybe little chirps here and there, but this is whisper quiet for that large space.
Now I know some folks are watching this thinking, I've got a cat, or I've got mouse traps, but I don't need the mouse blocker.
Hear that all the time. The mice are actually hiding in your car from your cat. Why not help your cat? This drives them out of the spaces where your cat can't get, so your cat can actually do its job
You can let your cat do its job, let nature take its course. You don't have to use messy poisons. You can be humane to the mouse. Get them out of your vehicle with a simple insurance policy. You can find it at mouseblocker.com. We'll return with more Motorhead Garage presented by DragonFireTools.com right after this, so keep it right here.
The first steam-powered road-going vehicle was invented in 1769, and steam power remained popular for another 150 years. Early steam engines had boilers that had to be lit by hand and took about 20 minutes to build up pressure. Furthermore, steam-powered cars only had about a 30-minute supply of water on board. A far cry from the high-tech cars that we drive today. Motorhead Garage, presented by DragonFireTools.com. Industrial workbenches with integrated tool storage. And brought to you by PaintedAutoBodyParts.com, the leading U.S. auto body parts online store. Shock Therapy, ride your way. And by Custom Auto Sound, the originator of classic car OEM fit radio since 1977.
$14.7 to 1, that magic number we all call stoichiometric. The perfect air-fuel ratio. Welcome to this AMSOIL Tech Tip. Yep, we're talking about emissions, catalytic converter, what's going on. Well, the first thing we have to understand is what's happening when your car burning these emissions. And what's going on is you have carbon monoxide coming out of the tailpipe. Well, that goes through your catalytic converter and out comes carbon dioxide. You have hydrocarbons, which is just raw gasoline going into that catalytic converter, and out comes H2O. And then you have oxides of nitrogen, or NOx, going in there. Once that comes out, you should have some oxygen, nitrogen on the other side if it's working properly. Now you can do a 5-gas analyzation and tell what's going on with your car. Here's a 5-gas analyzation. What do? Well, they actually stick a wand in the tailpipe there, and that's actually going to sniff the exhaust. You can see the content of what's going on. That CO2 number, well, that's 14%. Anything above 13%, well, your car's running pretty good. Tells you a lot of what's going on inside of your car, your carbon monoxide, your HCs, and your O2. What are good numbers? Well, you can see them right there. HCs, 200 parts per million or less. COs, 2% or less. Oxides and nitrogen should be between 0 and 7%, and the O2 should be 3 or 4%. Now, this chart, this is actually huge. When we're looking at this chart, everything revolves around that 14.7. Everything functions properly. Fluids play a big key in that, especially oil. Tell me why.
Well, because basically anything that is in your oil can end up in your exhaust. It's an engine. It isn't perfect. Things sneak past the rings and it ultimately ends up in the exhaust, and it can end up in the catalytic converter. Something that you really have to watch when you're building these oils is the anti-wear additives, specifically zinc and phosphorus. We refer to it as zinc. The phosphorus portion of that can poison that catalytic converter and reduce efficiency. The performance that we're seeing out of some of these cars that you can just buy from the dealership now, it's crazy. So you have to go to work building the oil better on the front end versus putting a bunch of Band-Aid additive and zinc and phosphorus on top of it. That's kind of the key there. That way, it keeps your catalyst happy.
Well, people don't realize it's all emissions related, especially when it comes to fuel injection. Fuel additives are key for that as well.
Exactly. This is about maintaining efficiency. So any of these fuel additives are going to help keep the injector spray pattern clean, nice and efficient. It keeps those rings sealing tight against those cylinder walls, keeps those deposits non-existent.
You know, when that check engine light pops up, it's usually emissions related complaint. So if you want good emissions and performance, where can they go to find these products, Len?
Well, they can go to amsoil.com.
Our PaintedAutoParts.com Motorhead of the Week is Hee Jun-ju from Orange County, California. Now, just a couple of years ago, he knew nothing about off-roading. That's when Ju and his fiancée, Ari Quintero, started getting on some online forums, and it didn't take long before they went to their first off-road event, and they were hooked. Their love for travel has taken them all over the Northwest, and this year's big trek wound its way through Nevada, Utah, Wyoming, Idaho, and Montana, with off-road stops along the way. And Ju says his 2021 Tacoma TRD is built for comfort, for overlanding, and even for rock crawling. So he's done a good job making that a multi-purpose vehicle. You can be like Hee Jun-ju and Ari Quintero. Just drop us a note. Go to motorheadgarage.tv and tell us why you should be Motorhead of the Week. And if you have a service or product you want to see featured here on the show, drop us a line. MotorheadGarage.tv is the place to go. We'll get you here in our Campbell's Custom Care studio. From everyone here at Motorhead Garage, presented by DragonFireTools.com, we will see you next time. In the meantime, drive safely. I'm going to take just a moment to honor the memory of someone near and dear to us here at Motorhead Garage and Masters Entertainment Group. Linda Jones passed away earlier this week. Linda's husband, Ted, founded our company nearly 3 decades ago, and since then, Linda has been an integral part of everything we've done here. She was the company's chief financial officer and chairman of the board, but through the years, she also took on the roles of field producer, production assistant, travel agent, assistant director, and more. But that's only the tip of the iceberg. Listen to some of the things Linda's accomplished in her life. She held a U.S. Coast Guard's captain's license. She was a former CFO at Bristol Dragway and of the International Hot Rod Association. She served as the editor for Drag Review magazine. Linda wrote commercials for IHRA national events. She ran those IHRA national events and helped run 4 drag strips that she and Ted owned. In 2023, Linda won the Pat Garlett's Memorial Award, and she was inducted into the International Drag Racing Hall of Fame. On top of that, she was a mother, a grandmother, and an amazing partner to her husband Ted for over 60 years. We're very sad to say goodbye, but so many people are lucky to have known and worked with you. Linda Jones, you made a difference, and you will be missed.